Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in tonight on DentonRadio.com. You are watching Sound Values. My name is Kind Beats. We are sponsored by the delicious LSA Burger Company. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. I am here with the founder of Battered and Beautiful. This is Jenny Foster right here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Just battling the heat.
Yes, absolutely.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only. There's just an onomatopoeia is how I describe the heat today. So Jenny, I kind of want to let's just dive right into the interview. You've already done one interview today.
Yes.
So as you were saying before this one, so I thought we were exclusive, but it's okay. Now you're warmed up. We're ready to go.
Yes.
The ideas are coming. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. You are the founder of Battered and Beautiful.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So for those who don't know, what is Battered and Beautiful?
So Battered and Beautiful is a nonprofit organization that is based around empowering battered women in the DFW area. So that's pretty broad. Mm-hmm. To sort of break that down, our mission is to educate, to empower, and to act. And we do that in a variety of ways. So a lot of that is fundraising. We try to support women's shelters through monetary and item donations, communicating with them what their needs are, what the woman and the families there need specifically. In addition, we like to support programs and host programs through these shelters that improve the lives of battered women. So that means, yoga classes, music lessons. We've even done science lessons, just
Very
about,
cool. Yeah,
just about anything that we feel like we could provide. I usually get approached by people with a certain skill set or, have a certain passion. And then I try to see how I can incorporate that into, local area shelters.
Definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. You said the science thing too. And they're saying that in the job workforce, you have more and more women who are, and especially in schools going towards more of a science area, medical area, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty important for those kind of classes to be able to be provided, for people who are interested in them.
Exactly.
Continue empowering. So what got you interested, or what began this kind of mission to start something like this? It's not an easy thing to do. So what is it that got you to begin looking into starting something like this?
Yeah, so I got my start as a high school student.
Okay.
I was 16 years old, and I founded the Grapevine High School Young Feminist Group. We were a group encouraged and empowered to promote gender equality. That was our basic understanding, our basic mission. And through that group, a huge part of what I wanted that to be was fundraising and action and volunteering and just getting men and women, in the area at Grapevine High School to go out and help in any way that they could. So I started fundraising there, raised about $2,000 as a high school student, probably about 7 to 10 different fundraisers and items drives and that sort of thing.
Excellent.
And through that, I got a lot of different connections. One of those was Grace's Transitional Housing Center in Grapevine, just an absolutely amazing program. And the executive director, Shonda Schaefer, she ended up being a huge mentor for me as I entered this nonprofit world. She helped me get in contact with Gatehouse, which is another really awesome transitional housing center, Genesis in Dallas, another women's shelter. So she helped me, make those connections. And when I graduated and I had all of this momentum build up, I just knew I wanted to keep doing something with it. I didn't want to stop just because I was in college and I was getting this degree. I still wanted to devote a huge part of my time, what I cared about. So with that, I kind of started thinking about names and ideas of what an organization, what that could realistically look like for me. And me and Shonda basically came up with starting a 501c3 org with another 501c3 org. So we reached out to Grapevine United Charities in Grapevine, and they agreed through, a couple months of networking and talking and meeting to let me basically start a 501c3 within their 501c3, if that makes any sense. So I basically just didn't have to hire an accountant, which was, really nice. And I had all of these connections and this network to go off of and sort of learn how to be a president, an organizer, a founder, all those sorts of things.
This is all at like the age of like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I was 18 at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Were you in like student counselor or anything before this? Or you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm going to change the world.
So that's interesting. It's interesting that you bring that up because I've been asked a lot, why women's issues? Why this specific, area? There's so many different things I could go into and like what's the passion there? And as a high school student in Texas, I feel like I watched a lot of my close friends and even some family experience this cycle of teen dating violence. So I think the statistic, and this is from Safe House in Texas, it's about 10% of high school girls will experience it at some point during their high school career.
Wow.
And I personally think that number is like, that's the lower estimate. That's the low end of that.
Those are just the people that they know about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are saying, you know what, I recognize this as something that has happened to me, not the many, men and women or, young people. I keep saying men and women, but these are, boys and girls who are experiencing this at such a remarkably young age. I mean, before the age of 16, we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
is an extremely important developmental time.
exactly. And so I think when I saw all of this happening and I saw this cycle over and over again, and you're not taught what to do in those situations. You can't even drive yet. You don't know, you don't have a metric for, a lot of people don't have a metric for what a healthy relationship looks like. If it's your first relationship and they're telling you, or you're experiencing this, or something's happening that's making you feel uncomfortable, you might not know that that's not okay. You might not have been taught that, especially if you're from a background, a less than healthy household growing up. You really don't know. You don't have that scale.
Yeah.
So I think seeing all of that and the lack of education around it, no one was really talking about it in my classes. I wasn't taught that for sure. That is what really got me involved in this fight and in these areas. So I think that was like a huge part of the passion and kind of why, I just sort of, again, seemingly, I really did feel like I just woke up one morning and wanted to do this. But I realize now that it was like months of volunteering and fundraising and just realizing just how much I truly cared about these issues.
Yeah, it's really, yes, exactly. This wasn't a fleeting moment of like, there's injustice. No, this was a feeling that you really needed to do something and began doing something. And so I hate to ask the question, but how, so you were 18 when this started this, and this will age you, I'm sorry, like I said, but I'll say my age. I'm 32. So see, there you go. Now we're even. So how long has Battered and Beautiful been around?
So I started at end of my 18th year, going into my 19th year. So it's about 2.5 years old.
Okay,
now.
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. So it's still young,
still
in that
young,
form. But you're. What are some of the because we do have an event coming up.
Yes.
And that's another thing we're here to talk about.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. What are some of the kind of some of the first fundraisers, ways that you kind of started to create some buzz and create people knowing about the organization?
So I definitely, for those first few months, I went back to what I knew, which was, restaurant fundraisers, working and just creating those connections with local businesses. That's probably one of my favorite parts of doing all of this, is getting to, walk in, meet the manager, meet the whoever, hear their story, hear what they have to say about these issues, and then kind of figure out a way to set up an event that benefits both of us. So that looked, again, a lot like group fundraisers, a lot like bake sales and booths, and kind of tagging along with their events. Items drives, that was a really huge thing for me for a while. Setting up with, anywhere from like Texas State to, now we're working with UT Austin.
Okay.
I go to UT Dallas, UNT, obviously amazing. So it was like college organizations, it was local businesses, and it was sort of just like creating those little connections, those little networks, and started pretty small. So
now, were you just cold call walking into these places and saying, let me talk to somebody, and it just, or is there kind of more of a way that you need to approach these things in a professional manner to get a business's attention?
It was a little bit of both. Okay. So I don't want to say anything I did was like an absolute cold call. I definitely had like, I know this person, and she directed me to you, or I, name drop people from the Grapevine Chamber of Commerce.
There you go. That doesn't hurt.
That
Savvy.
helped. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I did that, and that gave me an end. That gave me some sort of, I was 19, so how serious, I
Well,
tried
in
to
a way,
act,
it's sales, and
yeah.
like I remember when I did sales, it was like, well, give me what's your reason for being here, you know? And so you're walking, you're saying, here I am, this is what I'm doing, and sometimes it would be like, oh, the guy down the street told me that you would really be interested in this. So those people, those name drops, they're not just name drops. They're a way to grab somebody's attention who has no idea who you are and create trust, kind of.
Exactly.
Create that trust. And like, oh, you know him? I know him. I mean, you're usually friends, Like if you found out that I knew somebody that you knew, because I grew up in Southlake. I know I had to say it, You were in Grapevine. I know. Please don't judge, all right? It's a long time ago.
Hard.
I know. You can cringe. It's cool.
It's okay.
It's cool. I understand. Totally. But, I'd be like, oh, okay. And it would be a better relationship right there. So I can see why you would do that. So, going in and just talking to people definitely was opening up the doors. What were some of the other things that you had to do and to kind of get people to say, okay, let's talk?
So definitely kind of acting a little bit more, I don't want to say more mature than I was, but carrying myself in a certain way that was, that showed a clear passion.
Yeah.
And really just cutting to the chase. I'm Jenny Foster. I'm the president and organizer of Battered and Beautiful. We try to empower battered women in the DFW area. Would you be interested in doing a fundraiser? Would you be interested in collecting items? And usually they'll ask a few questions more, but I feel like, and this was this was kind of a blessing in a way, but it's something that affects everyone. So it was the second that I brought up the mission statement and really showed that passion, that determination for what I was interested in, what I was doing. I feel like that's whenever I started to really make some progress, because I feel everyone knows someone who's been through something like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is, again, worldwide statistic, but 1 in 3 people, I'm pretty sure it affects. So, about 33%, give or take, would have had some direct experience with that. And I feel like once I mentioned that mission statement, I was genuine, I was honest about my intentions, and I was nice and polite. That's whenever, people started to be like, oh, she's cool, she's nice, she's, she really just wants to help people, and she's not going to, pull a fast one on me or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, I feel like that's how I made a lot of progress.
Right on. Very, very cool. And so, it's been a couple of years. What are some things that you say you have kind of learned over the years? Like either like they be lessons or just the right or wrong thing to maybe do something. What are some of those lessons along the way as you build something like this that you would, like if you could go back and tell yourself 2 years ago, like something to do right or wrong or change something up, what do you think you would do about that?
So the first piece of advice that I would give myself as a 19-year-old developing a self-esteem and a sense of self was that you got to get used to hearing no, because I heard no a million times.
Definitely.
Before I even found Grapevine United Charities. It was just no after no after no, and for a while, it does get to you, because you're like, what's wrong with me? Why don't people care? Like, what's going on? So I would just say, keep going on, keep pushing past the nose, let it brush off your shoulder in one ear, out the other. In addition, some advice I would give myself in terms of networking and meeting people is, again, just being genuine, forthright with, and just sort of honest from the start. And meeting them where they're at. So I feel like I would get really frustrated at first when people weren't emailing me back right away or messaging me back right away, because again, it feels like that rejection, like, oh, they're saying no, or they're not interested. Or I'd hear back like 2 months later. And kind of what I learned, especially going into this event, is, again, just are they on Instagram? Message them on Instagram.
Yeah.
You don't have to send them an email with your signature at the bottom. Just be like, hey, are you interested? It doesn't have to be this formal thing. And if they're not that responsive, or they're really busy, just go to their business, buy something, or go to their restaurant. Just meet them where they're at. I have the time and the freedom to do that. And I obviously want, I have the passion and drive to set something up. So, just, again, work with them versus trying to get them to work with you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's similar, kind of like if you want to play music somewhere, you want to be a part of a venue, you want to do this, you want to do that, you can send that email, but you can also just walk in and say, hey, who does your booking? I've done that. You walk in, hey, who does the booking here? This guy. Okay, hey, cool. I've got an idea. Here's my idea. Cool, I like it. When do you want to do it? This month. Sweet, we'll see ya. You know, that easy. I mean, you know, even like walking up into Backyard on Bell, you know, people will be like, how do you get booked at Backyard? Oh, well, message Zachariah. He might not get back to you for a week because he's got 7,000 other messages, you know, or you can show up there on Sunday and I'll introduce you to him. You can show up on any of these days and just walk in and ask to speak with him and he'll probably be right there. And that's going to get you, right, and, you know, and if you walk in and say, hey, Mikey sent me, he's going to know exactly who you're talking about. Kind Beats sent me, you know, oh, cool. What's up?
Yeah.
You know, he's going to listen to you that much more. So, yeah, that walking into people, getting to know people. And I find it interesting that you said buy something at their business because it's so true. You know, there's a lot of times where if you want to play at a certain venue, there's a bartender at that venue. So go to that venue a few times. Go see a few shows. You know, I've known that's how I got some of my stuff was just going to places and getting to know the people who worked there, you know, because that's what would get you that chance. Once again, it's the sense of trust. They're like, okay, this person isn't just coming in looking for a one-off and then that's it. They've come here again and again and again. They're trying. They've got drive. And you know, that was obviously something that you started to show people. More and more. And then the thing you said about no, you know, getting used to that. Once again, I'll relate that right back to music. Again, I mean, you can send 100 emails to different venues, different booking agents, and you might only, if you send 100 emails, you might get 10 responses. You know, and so getting used to that word no not only will make you more mature when you walk into the meeting because you're like, okay, I've heard it before. I can hear it again. I'm still here doing this, you know, but it just makes it easier to continue going if you just think of no as like next. Exactly. I had somebody tell me that. He's like, if you hear no, just next, because it might just be not right now, maybe another time, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, you start to get this all together, you know, and you would go back and tell yourself this very, very good advice. I actually had an interviewer ask me that question the other day, and I was like, that's good. I'm going to store that one. What would you tell your past self to do? So I was like, that's a really good question. I'm going to steal that one. So as you develop ideas and you develop this organization, where did this event that we're not going to discuss about, where did this event that's going to be happening at Backyard on Bell, where did that kind of come from? How did you develop that?
So this is our second annual benefit concert. So our first benefit concert was at Sloan & Williams Winery in Grapevine. Ended up just being a fantastic event. We did the raffle. We had a good friend of mine, Julia. She played and sang for us. And we just worked really closely with Sloan, the owner there, to, you know, get people out and just have everyone there to talk and, you know, sip wine. And
is that the winery off the highway? Like you can see it on the right. It's big. It's like been there. I mean, like, it's like, I don't know, maybe close to Skate Town or something.
No, it's off of Main Street.
Okay. So it's one right off Main. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's awesome. You should check it out.
Okay. We're from a similar area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Grapevine.
But so we did that event at Sloan & Williams, and I just really loved. I just really loved it. I mean, it was such good energy. The people that I saw there, I mean, some people, like high school teachers came out to see me, and people that I just wasn't expecting showed up. And it ended up just being a really solid community event. And so I said, you know, this is great. This is fun. I think we raised about $2,000 that night. Just like knocked it out of the park. And so I said, you know, I kind of want to go bigger this year. So I ended up, you know, looking around at different venues, because that's, you know, step one, find the venue. Step two, everything else. I was looking at venues in Dallas originally, and again, I sort of did the thing like, you know, Facebook message, Instagram message, just sort of see who was interested. We got a few bites, but it was just the way that it was set up. I just wasn't sure if that was, you know, what I exactly pictured it being like.
The space.
And then a friend of mine, Elaine Hostetler from Little Bear Productions, she did a freak show in Backyard on Bell back in October. And I'd been, you know, friends with her for a while, and we'd been talking, and she's like, you got to just check it out. You know, like, message Zach on Facebook, see what he says. And I messaged Zach. I'm like, you know, I'm with a nonprofit. We're trying to do this benefit. Is this something you might be interested in? And 5 minutes later, he messaged me back. He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, what's the catch here? I've spent like weeks on, you know, conference calls yeah, exactly. I was like, what do I need to hire a sound guy? Like, do I have to set up the stage myself? Like, what's going on? And he's just like, no, like, we got it. Just, you know, it's fine.
Yeah. It's they're one of the most amazing places to work with on anything, really. I mean, they've done all types of events, all kind of charity events. I mean, they've even had wrestling there. They had like a huge wrestling ring. You know, we had Stella Palooza there, which is amazing. And that wasn't our idea. Zach had given, like, had given us a date. Something Modern had given us a date, like, hey, you guys want to throw a show? And I came up there after Stella was born to play us a show literally the next day. And he was like, hey, let's turn that date that I gave you into a benefit show. And then they had a record company that was like, hey, we want, like, you know, this, like, kind of like, I don't even really know. It was an indie record company that was just like, we want to get involved too. And they had all their bands come out and play. And like there were guys from Florida touring, and they just do that.
Yeah.
They're just good people over, man. And over there, and, you know, all different types of music and all different types of causes. He's one of the best people to work with in town for sure. So after you got the venue,
yes,
then what do you got to do?
So then we started to work with bands that I knew. So I'm blessed to know a lot of really awesome artists. Selenite, she's going to be playing there.
Nice.
Gabriel Aaron is going to be playing there. And I kind of worked with Zach on this too, you know, who would be interested in an event like this. And one of the first names that was given to me over and over and over again was Rose Garden Funeral Party. And I was like, you know, I've heard that name before. I feel like I know them. I'm going to look them up, see what they're about. And Elaine just absolutely blew me away. She's so talented, and the songs that she writes are like incredibly personal and incredibly relevant to our cause.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I just remember being so excited. It was whenever I got that confirmation email back, and she's like, "Oh yeah, of course we'll do this. This is everything. You know, this is the culmination of, you know, like my music and my art and everything. This is what I'm about." So that was really cool. And then I came out and saw her. What was it, at the end of June, and got to talk with her a little bit more about her songs and everything. So that was like a really huge, you know, bonus for us. And then I was sort of looking around at different benefit shows, doing my research into Denton.
Yeah.
And you know, saw this record label, Something Modern, and and then there's, you know, Kind Beats.
That'd be me too.
Yeah. And I reached out to you originally because, you know, I saw that you did a bunch of different things in Denton, and you're still a Palooza and all that sort of thing. And then, you know, I asked, I'm going to probably reach out to Something Modern because those guys seem pretty cool. They seem pretty happening. And yeah.
And then, that cracked me up, you know. But like I said, it was a fun moment of being like, oh, yes, it's not directly connected to me anymore. You know, it's not like, oh, it's obvious. But I do have a shirt on. I was like, I'll wear one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, as do you as well.
Yes.
You know, we got the Battered and beautiful shirts on. And thank you for reaching out once again. You know, I've done like tons of stuff with Friends with Benefits and just all over the place. One of the things when I used to sit down with younger people who would ask me like, hey, how do I get shows? One guy was named Jordan Snow. He just did Christmas in July at Backyard on Bell, and they raised a great amount of money and a whole bunch of toys and stuff for kids. And so he put this all together. And you know, sometimes you might have musicians who will get a little tired of doing benefit shows. I don't. You know, it doesn't bother me at all. And it's also a great it's, you know, it sounds kind of weird to say, but it's a networking tool as well. Because you will get to meet all kinds of awesome people who know all kinds of other awesome people who will help you as an awesome person just do more awesome things. You know, so I told him, hey, you know, if you see a benefit show and it's a cause, even you as a musician, if they don't reach out to you, reach out to them. Say, I want to come play this. You know, that's even more powerful than someone reaching out to you, is you taking that step forward and saying, I see a cause. This is something I love. I know you don't know who I am, but I want to do this. And it's a way. And so he would do that kind of stuff. And then he built up to where he just did his own event, you know, so it's very, very cool and fun to see. And yeah, I love doing it. I just like playing music too.
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, I get to play on a system that's giant. And I make a lot of my music, so like I get to hear it in like this really good like sound system and stuff. And I'm like, okay, it sounds good enough. Let's release it now. So I don't know. There's so many reasons and causes and things that I play for, and especially, you know, being a new dad and having a daughter, it would be silly to say that like some of my perspectives on things have not changed. Like there are things that I have checked myself in the mirror on, and things of that and things that I have to become aware of in order to be a good dad, you know, to a daughter. I grew up with all brothers. You know,
wow.
So this is going to be a new path for me. You know, I've got a lot of backup. So I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be okay. So after you reached out to me, who are some of the other people that we're going to be seeing that night?
Yeah. So I just recently met up with Charlie DeBolt from Upsetting, Bart Flav Records. And this is the really cool part. So Upsetting's going to be playing our night, August 10th. And on August 9th, so Bart Flav is having their anniversary party at Backyard on Bell.
Okay.
And originally we wanted that 9th date, and, we got moved to the 10th. But I think, Zach and Charlie talked a little bit, and they ended up wanting to give us the proceeds from August 9th as well.
Nice.
So we're the Facebook events are going to be separate, but August 9th, we're going to be there promoting with some vendors and some artists to, come out, support Battered and Beautiful.
Nice.
And then August 10th is, kind of the final celebration day where we'll have the raffle and a photo area and, lots of food trucks and that sort of thing. So, yeah. But we're
Very cool.
the sort of the people that we're going to see there. There's a lot of really awesome artists and vendors that are.
Okay,
We're
yeah.
gonna be
Who else is going to be there? Yeah.
Yeah. So Michaela from Mac did this, that artist. Woolsey Apparel, Jake Wagner. We're having Artisanal Apothecary. I'm trying to, off the top of my head, list all these.
This is
awesome.
good. These are a lot of names I don't know.
Yeah.
Which, once again, like I just said, as a musician, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna get to go and meet all these new people who are a part of all these cool causes.
Yes. So it's gonna be. I'm trying. There's so many. I think Bailey Dawn Art is gonna be there. We're having just this really awesome network of artists come out. And then I've reached out to different vendors, so businesses that want to do pop-ups. The whole ordeal is going to be there. It's like bath products and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, all food groups of people are going to be represented at
all food groups of people.
Yes.
Yes. From the wheats to the vegetables to the sweets.
Yes, balanced diet.
Yeah.
They're all going to be there. And I think this week we're going to be announcing vendors and artists, and then finishing our lineup announcement next week. So definitely look out for that. But yeah, so we're DJs to upsetting Rose Garden funeral party.
It's a plethora of different types of music, which always brings out a good crowd in Denton. And so, we kind of talk about like what brought you like up to Denton, you looked at a few other places, found Backyard, and then Backyard popped up and is also, one of the best venues to do. How did you, I just want to know, like, when you got to Backyard, because you were talking about the vision that you had, was it kind of a space, did you kind of start to see and how do you kind of start to put that together up here before it goes to paper, because like you said, you get the venue, you get the artists, and you got to see it now. You got to see it all developing.
Yeah. So I've been to Backyard on Bell probably 3 or 4 times within the last month, kind of just like spacing it out. I've brought in different people to help me sort of envision where we want certain things to go. But yeah, I think the process of that, it's kind of, you kind of do have that, you have to have that spatial imagination. I have a lot of different sort of DIY projects I'm working on right now for this event, sort of like photo areas and that sort of thing to really set the vibe and the environment. But yeah, part of like the branding of the event and what we want it to feel like definitely started kind of all the way back to the artwork. So Matthew Drager has been so amazing and designed our flyer, all of our announcements, that sort of thing. And that's very much so like 60s. I think it's like a 60s.
Definitely.
Yeah. You've seen it. It's yes. Very like
the way a vintage. It's like a they look like vintage signs, like vintage. Like something you drive by in the 60s and would see at a gas station.
Exactly. It's like a I think he said it was like a vintage 60s like flip book. I need to find the exact words that he said, but he's like, you kind of like you'd flip through things, kind of like a vintage candy store sort of vibe, which is that's totally on brand with me. And it kind of helped combine like the Denton more sort of artsy weird vibe with like Battered and Beautiful logo. So it was like this nice meshing and sort of combining of worlds. And then once I had that idea, then the rest kind of fell into place. We're going to have our own booth set up. We're going to have the artists sort of lined up around the awning area, kind of by the bar-ish. And yeah, so I think not only having people who were really good at, this sort of design, thing and being able to have, an artwork and idea behind it, that's how the event pulls together for me.
Yeah. Who are some of the people, because these are big projects, who are some of the people that you have behind you? Because I have my people that I can trust where I'm like, yes, I know they'll get this done. Who are some of the people that like you like to reach out to that maybe we could give like a shout out to for helping you with all their hard work here?
So many people. So, obviously Zach, Backyard and Bell, Charlie DeBolt
Zachariah.
from Bart
Charles
Flav.
DeBolt, yeah.
Josh and Erilyn from Little Bear Productions. They've done a huge part of the promotion for everything that we have going on. My people at Battered and Beautiful, my dear friend Maddie Sakota.
She's over here doing the social media stuff right
she's
now.
got it going on.
So a big part.
Yes,
Sure.
and her and Mackenzie Packer both kind of help coordinate and really promote and send this out to their friend groups and their networks and really getting the posts and events up. So yeah, they're amazing. Definitely my support group. Selenite, one of our artists coming out, stage name Selenite, but I know her as Kelsey Flanagan. Just absolutely amazing artist, and she's helped me kind of figure out a lot of the other details around sound and how that's going to set up and what I need to ask for and what I need to look out for.
Definitely. Because that like you just said something that's really stuck out to me, sound.
Yes.
Because that's one of the things too, is doing events. You know, some people might be like, I need to make an announcement at this time, and then all of a sudden that's right in the middle of a band set. You know, and it wasn't discussed before. So like having those little cues, like for the artist to know, oh hey, right here during this part, like if it's a DJ, we're gonna need you to kind of turn down so that somebody can make an announcement. Or, you know, if you've got me, you work on the radio, I can do a couple announcements too.
Sure.
But yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff happen at events before where they're like, I need a mic. And everybody's like, oh, well, here you go, I guess. Yeah. So who are some of the other people who've been with you?
So in terms of just connections, networking, we also have Ponce. Ponce Durham. He's one of long-term friend. He helped me really get my feet in marketing and promotion back whenever he just recently changed jobs. But back whenever he worked at the Grapevine United Charities, Mary Jo Talene, she's been a huge mentor for me. And they've all really done a really great job of telling me, you know, like, this is how you set up events, this is how you plan, this is how you reach out to people, this is how you network. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people. Again, Michaela, she was one of the artists I mentioned. She's helped me get in connection with so many different awesome, amazing Denton artists who I would not have, you know, been able probably to find by other means and really helped me put my foot in the door there. So yeah, having just all these different people, you know, who are good at their own thing, you know, it's whether it's, you know, Matthew Drager with his amazing design or, you know, Erilyn and Josh with their awesome promotion and marketing and sort of Mary Jo and Ponce with all of their nonprofit experience and Mackenzie and Maddie with their, you know, amazing communications, PR. It's having all these different people who are really good at what they do and really awesome at their jobs that, you know, I probably wouldn't know otherwise as a biochemistry major in college. It's having
a little different.
Yeah,
it's a tiny bit different.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Having that, I think, is really what's helped pull this together for me. So thankful for those people.
Now, have we mentioned when the event is?
I said it once or twice.
Okay. Let's say it again then.
Yes. So
just to make sure.
For sure. It is, so August 10th is the official Battered and Beautiful benefit concert. But we also, again, have a lovely August 9th date.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
provided to us by Bart Flav for it's their anniversary party. It's also our anniversary that weekend. So 2 anniversaries, both days benefiting us. 100% of proceeds will go back towards battered women in the DFW area. So for sure, come on out.
So where can people, if they wanted to get more involved, like either with Battered and Beautiful, or they kind of wanted to look into the event more, where can they find out online, the social media and stuff like that?
So our website is batteredandbeautiful.org. We also have @batteredandbeautiful on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can email us if you're a vendor, artist, musician, special talent, basket weaver, whatever it is, at batteredandbeautiful at gmail.com. So I check all of those accounts very frequently and try to get back usually within a day or two.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in getting involved in this event or getting involved in any future events, anything else we have going on, for sure, follow us there. We're pretty active, and we have, all of our events coming up every single event we have coming up over the next few months is already posted on Facebook. So you can look out there for sure.
If there is somebody out there who happens to see this interview and is experiencing what you've been talking about, can they reach out to y'all to find services that could possibly help them to get out of the situation they're in, or how to deal with that situation?
Yeah. So we've actually worked a lot with sort of redirecting, sort of taking these personal messages, PMs, and finding shelters in the area. That's something we can certainly do. I get a lot of personal messages about that. So that's something I'm comfortable sort of redirecting.
Okay.
There are a few situations, just to preface, that we can't exactly help with. If you just suspect someone's, experiencing this situation and you're kind of calling in to tell us, there's nothing we can do unless if they're currently seeking help for it.
Yeah.
So there has to be that, aspect of like autonomy or independence in there. But we can certainly find the place that you need to go to. Again, we have pretty much every local shelter. We have those crisis hotlines posted on all of our pages. Specifically the North Texas hotlines for those.
Yeah.
In addition, there's some really awesome, one of the places I work with, Mosaic, is Anti-Human Trafficking Center. I mean, just about every, interest can be sort of represented in DFW. So if you need help, if you need a place to stay, if you're looking for a program, we promise those are there here, those are available here, and we'd love to direct you if possible.
Okay, very cool. That was one of those more serious questions I had to get into right there. Because it's a serious subject matter, and as you said, everybody knows somebody, and most of us know more than just one.
Yeah.
Most of us know more than just one person. Very unfortunately. And as somebody who works with young people as well, it can definitely be a concern, especially in those teenage years, as you were saying. It's just such an intensely developmental age. And kids need to be in safe relationships. I'm just going to say,
absolutely.
It's one of those things. And so I'm going to kind of divert just a little bit here. We've talked a lot about the event. It's coming down on August 10th. Tons of good music, a great cause. But I'm going to ask you a couple personal questions. Okay. It's not going to be anything intense. Okay. It's, but we're going to start off on something very simple, very light, very fluffy. Okay. We're going to start off with, what is your favorite snack? My
favorite snack. I feel like I'm like a Chex Mix bold kind of gal, like that's like the specific, not just Chex Mix, but Chex Mix bold.
Yes,
I
see. I see.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, Chex Mix bold. Okay, so now, and I won't say, you don't have to say your favorite, but what's one of your favorite bands?
So, I was born and raised on classic rock.
Okay.
So that was my first love, was classic rock. So I have to say Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Tom Petty, and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So those guys are number one in my heart.
Here's the other one. What was the first album you bought yourself?
The first album I bought myself, I want to say that was probably Foster the People, Torches.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, on. Mine was Eminem's 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yes, of course.
The first CD I ever owned was the Offspring Americana. It was very cool when I was in the 6th grade. My older brother bought me that. But I remember buying the 8 Mile soundtrack. My mom was like, "You better not go buy that." And I was 16 and, you had a car. So I had this little special place that I would hide my CDs that I didn't want mom to find. And then I had the actual, back when you had CDs and you put them right up here on your visor in your car, trust me, it was sweet. Okay. It was very cool.
Hiding that.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we've talked, that was the first album. All right. Now, this is going to be the last question of the night. Okay. All right. Now, have you seen season 3 of Stranger Things?
I have not, but I've dedicated so much of my time to watching season 1 and 2, so I just need to. I'm caught up to that point. I just need to.
Everybody has to be asked if they've seen it.
Yeah.
Because if I have to make sure. You don't want to throw spoilers out there, especially on the radio.
Yeah.
It'll really, really upset people. All right. Well, Jenny, it has been a pleasure to sit down and talk with you tonight. Once again, Jenny Foster here with Battered and Beautiful. If you're going to come to an event, bring her some Chex Mix Bold and a Led Zeppelin vinyl, and I think you might become friends.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see. We'll see. So once again, August 10th. When does the event start?
So I think we're going to open up the market around 5 p.m.
Okay.
We're looking at music 5:45, 6 p.m.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. We've got all types of music. I know I'm playing there. Bart Flav's going to have some artists there. And then help me out.
Rose Garden Funeral
Thank you.
Party.
I was about to say Rose Grave Funeral Party. Like, yeah. So we've got them as well. It's going to be a fantastic time. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
Oh, this is going to be awesome. And once again, you can look up all the information. You can find the event on Facebook, or you can go to batteredandbeautiful.org and find it that way. They are at Battered and Beautiful on Twitter, Instagram, and am I forgetting one? Facebook as well.
Those.
Beautiful. All of those. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for
sitting
having
down
me.
and talking. Yeah, thank you. And for the lovely social media director over here, she's working hard. Y'all can't see it, but trust me, it takes a lot to do that. You guys, make sure you stick around. We've got Ellie Bell and the Denton Vibe coming up next. And next week on the show, I've got Zeke Forever. He's an R&B artist coming out of Denton with some smooth sounds. So y'all stick around for that one. I will see y'all next week right here on DentonRadio.com. Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton.